What is up, Live to Die family? How are we all doing today? I am just happy to be here recording this intro for you for this great episode, and I'm hoping that you guys are excited to listen as well. Oh, this is Jared, by the way, but I just wanted to say Trent and James and Jane and Jason and myself were all very excited for you to hear this episode. We've all been working really hard to bring you some good content, and we're hoping that you're enjoying it because you're the reason we did this. Why we went out of our way and made this podcast and put ourselves out there. And you guys have received us so beautifully, and we couldn't be any more honored to have the support and the interactions that we've had so far, and we welcome it. We welcome it. If you want to reach out and touch base with us, you know, we're all on Twitter and social media, Instagram. Of course, you could always hit us up at Live to Die Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Send us a line. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. We are open. We want to know what you guys like. And we're trying to get better at this game as we play. We bit off a lot with level 16 adventure, but we are learning as we go. And of course, that means we're not going to be perfect, but we're doing our best. And hopefully you guys are learning the system along with us. Second edition Pathfinder hasn't been the easiest thing. But for those of us who played first edition, it's actually quite a bit easier than that. But we will not stop saying thank you to all of you who are listening and interacting with us and has made this experience well worth it already. So with that being said, enjoy today's episode of the Live to Die podcast.
Roll dice, be nice, and stay tuned. This is the Live to Die podcast. So I have a question about submarines.
All right.
Because you served on one, right?
Yes.
What do they do with the poop and the pee?
It just gets jettisoned overboard.
You're kidding.
That's amazing.
There's like a series of tanks called the sanitary tanks. And some of them hold like gray water from like the dishes or the shower. But then there's the ones that like collect the poop and the pee and everything else that's disgusting. And once they get full enough, you have to jettison them overboard. But the interesting thing is that it also weighs something. So when you jettison it overboard, you have to bring water on to compensate.
Sure.
So you don't get all like...
So you don't get all off. Yeah, your trim is all messed up and you can't drive the boat anymore.
I mean,
Wow.
I don't imagine there's like a lot of windows on a submarine. But,
There's 0 windows on a submarine.
I kind of wonder what that looks like when that just gets like shot out the side, you know?
Have you ever seen a little kid like diarrhea in a pool?
Oh,
That's
God.
kind of sure. Yeah, for all the
I
listeners
hate
out
this.
there you go.
I hate this
That's
so
what I imagine
much.
it looks like. It
Yeah.
also smells terrible.
Okay,
I believe
wait.
that.
Did you... I would like to moving on. You said there's no window, not a single window?
No.
That just destroyed everything I thought about submarines.
Yeah.
What do you want a window for?
It's the fish.
You don't want to see what's in the ocean that deep.
I probably don't, actually. It's very
It's
scary.
terrifying.
I was just picturing like Atlantis style, like a giant observation deck aquarium under the water.
No.
So do you like watch Netflix on a submarine? Like what do you do to pass the time?
Download a lot of stuff in the computer age. Like before that, when it was really easy to just have stuff to watch, there was a lot of books. I read a lot of books underway.
That sounds like a really lonely life. I'm not going to lie.
It's very secluded, yeah. And it's like, even though you're underway with 150 some odd dudes at the time, because there was no women on submarines when I was in,
Right.
you are more secluded than you think because you're in such a tight space with so many people that you want your own space. So you go to your rack.
Everybody leaves each other alone.
And everybody leaves each other alone. Like it's weird for people to touch me when I would get back from deployment.
Interesting.
Yeah. Jessica was like the only one that could get away with touching me when I got home. So yeah, it's weird, little different stuff, but
I mean, I'm that way all the time.
right.
But
I think a lot.
You don't
there's
even
a
have
lot
an
of,
excuse.
don't touch me.
There's a lot of people that are like introverts that join the submarine force because it's like, oh well, I don't have to live in a floating city with 5,000 people. You just stuck in this metal dildo with 150.
No wonder the nuclear submarine force has morale problems. It's just a whole bunch of lonely dudes.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I don't know if you've seen
Wah,
the news lately, but there was one of the aircraft carriers of Newport News
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
had to like all the suicides. Yeah. That's where
Yeah.
me and Ryan were when we met each other, was in Newport News.
Hmm.
That story didn't surprise me at all. I was like, this checks out. Every ship that's ever been in Newport News was probably going through this situation. It's fucking terrible.
Oh. But you met your best friend
Yep.
there, right?
Met my
Ryan,
best friend there.
Ryan's like your
Mhm.
long-term buddy.
Little
Yeah.
shout out to Ryan.
Shout out to
Ryan.
Ryan.
Ryan, I don't know
Ryan.
you, but I hear great things.
10 of 10. Would friend again.
Yep. He's pretty cool.
It's not an original joke, but one of my favorite concepts of humor is the idea of doing normal things, being in a normal everyday situation with an abnormal thing. And so I always like the idea of like parking a submarine.
Yeah.
Or I was giving Trent crap about this the other day because he was talking about like a big pickup truck. And he's like,
Yeah.
where am I going to park it? I was like, dude, just drive over other cars, park it wherever you want.
I'm getting a pickup truck, and I don't know how I feel about it really.
Just use one spot, please.
Yeah.
No, that's my intention.
And-
Yeah.
And just straight in the spot. It doesn't have to be sideways.
Yeah.
What was
You
your
know.
car before? Was it like a Golf?
There's a Honda Fit.
Okay.
To a
So
car.
he
It's
so
the size of a golf cart.
when
yes.
I met Trent, he had a Honda Fit that was like orange, right?
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, this has been a long time ago. That car's been,
Yeah, I haven't had it for like 2
long
or 3
dead.
years now.
yeah. But just comparing your previous ride to your new truck
To
is
a Ford
just,
F-150, it's going to be weird.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could fit your old car in the
In the-
bed
in the
of,
bed.
Of your new
one.
car.
Oh, totally.
yeah.
And it's like a little Transformers. You're driving down the highway, you open the back of it, boom, comes out. Two little.
Oh yeah,
Taffy.
Mad Maxing down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but that's always like one of my favorite ideas of humor is just really abnormal things trying to do a normal thing like parking. And it gets me every time. It's not actually that funny now that I talk about it, so I'm really bonding there.
Parking submarines is quite a comical thing to watch people do.
I would imagine.
Yeah. There's like this, not to make this whole episode about submarines, but there's
Welcome
this
to the
other,
submarine
It
show.
is. It is the submarine.
there's this
episode.
other really silly thing that we do. It's not silly. It makes a total sense, but you have to have all of the perspective, like XOs and COs
hmm
display their ability to navigate a submarine and run it
Sure.
and all that stuff. So we have to pull in, and they each have to park the boat one by one.
Wait,
All 11 or 12 of them.
don't they do this whenever Riker arrives in Next Generation? That
Oh,
like they
yes.
make Riker
Yes.
combine
Right.
the two parts of the ship.
That's right.
There you go.
Oh, and
Wow,
there you
dude,
go.
good-
Way to
good
segue
cut.
that to
Yeah.
nerdy.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've gone straight from naval to Star Trek.
Mhm.
Yep.
From naval
Well,
to
submarines
nerd.
are not.
Name of the new podcast.
As long as we don't combine it for the naval nerd.
That's actually like
Naval nerd.
Yeah,
the
that's-
title of Jason's biography, From Naval to Nerd.
Naval to nerd.
Yeah, but then I just hear naval as like a body part.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
Why is
yeah,
like
that's uncomfortable.
yeah?
They're spelled differently,
Anyway.
I think.
Are they?
Are they? We're about to find out.
Someone's going to look that up. The rest of us just
think
vamp
you're
for
right.
a second.
That's a Google.
Clickety clack clack clack.
Yeah, quick-
I had a
A
question.
quick goog.
So while that goog is going down, I was just reading through my notes from the last time, which are very comprehensive, mature, and specific.
Uh-huh.
So I just wanted to share some highlights.
Go on.
What do you mean by mature?
Well, it says
For mature audiences.
Yeah,
so
that's
just
what I'm
like some
saying.
things
God.
about Val, like strategic strike is the stratagem person, first round. Kenzen is our bird host.
Yeah.
Someone from the town is trying to sell an invitation. Next note, who's been bit by a duck?
We did talk about that. Because
Okay.
ducks
We did?
have. I 100% remember because we talked about the impact or like the little.
Like a duck
Oh.
mouth? I kind of remember that too.
Yeah.
Because some.
Because I got bit
No,
by a
be-
duck and it drew blood.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It was the rocks had like little.
That's
Duck
right.
mouth.
I
Duck
talked about how they have the
mouth.
duck
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
equivalent mouths.
We've got Resistance 10, The Keep, The Invitations, The Blades, Bank of
It's my
Latron.
favorite album.
It's I really
That's from
appreciate.
Coheed and Cambria.
No, it's the sophomore album from Cave Juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Juice.
Bank of Latron, The Oval Mirror, Cobblemites, gross. In April, we're going to London. Thievery.
Are you mixing real life notes with game
Yeah,
notes?
I think that was like us trying to schedule the next one.
Oh, okay.
And then also me trying to keep notes about what my character can do.
So we're running into like a pretty long intro, but at some point I do want to ask, what's the weirdest animal you've been bitten or attacked by?
Oh man,
So I think that's
you
going
guys
to
are
be a
gonna
really
make me
good
bring
one.
this up again.
Trent and I talked about this
Oh,
at
no.
length last night. And
I feel like we can't
I will
set
need
that
to
up.
exit the stream when Trent tells this story because it's so funny.
All right, let's I think we got to hear it then.
All right, so
Yeah, I mean, I gave mine duck. Like,
I mean, it's along those lines.
Yeah.
So my now wife and I were just sitting in a park here, and we're sitting on a bench, and sort of across the way, in the middle of the water, there's like this little island sort of thing where geese gather, and so this Canadian goose, Canada goose.
Why is it relevant that it's
do
from
you
Canada?
approach like do you make it Canadian or is it just a Canada goose?
I think it's
on its
Oh,
own?
Canadian
sure.
goose.
A Canadian. No, I think it's a Canada goose.
I have no idea.
I think the term is Canada goose.
Is it?
Like the kind of goose it is a Canada goose.
all right, I'll get to the bottom of this. Too.
Put the research
So
team on
anyway,
it.
This goose that I choose to believe was Canadian.
Hey?
It's Canada goose.
Oh, shit.
This
It is
this,
Canada
this
goose.
Canada goose kind of like makes eye contact with me and was like, right now, motherfucker. And he proceeds to swim in the water, like toward us. And then he jumps out of the water and begins to fly at us. And, like these are mean animals, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of prepare when you're around them for like, I'm going to have to sort of push one out of the way or something if it comes to that. This one had the energy of, this is going down. Like, we're going to throw hands.
Wings.
Wings. So he's just flying at us. I had to stand up. I put like instinctively, like a soccer mom, put an arm in front of my wife and was like, am I going to have to punch a goose right now?
I hope so.
Dude. So I would say it got within a foot with me like a fist ready before it eventually turned off. And like other people are like looking at us, of is that guy going to punch the goose?
Which I think is like illegal or some kind of
I
felony.
was like,
Yeah,
you're
right.
going to get arrested for punching
Right. Like
that
the
goose.
local police would come and be like, you can't punch the geese, man.
Those aren't American geese.
And that goose was like, what are
Those
you going to do?
Canada
Punch me?
geese.
It's an international incident.
Yeah.
In the like 15 seconds of this happening, like in my head, I'm just like, I'm going to have to commit a misdemeanor by punching this goose in the head.
Yeah.
And like the police are going to arrive and I'm going to have a goose neck like in my hand.
Right, because you will probably kill the goose.
I
if
mean,
you punch it hard
look,
enough.
if you saw me, you would know that if I punched a goose, I would kill it.
Oh, yeah. Guns for days. But here's the thing.
Editor's note, the goose would be fine.
Here's the thing. The reason this story was so hilarious to me is because this happened like quite a while ago. And as everyone probably knows, I am good friends with Trent's wife.
Yeah.
And I just remember like the day this happened, maybe the day after, she and I were getting together and we're all hanging out. And she was like, oh my God. Yesterday, Trent and I were in the park and he protected me from a goose and it was so hot. And I was like, wow, the pinnacle of manhood.
Like,
I will protect you from this goose.
don't expect me to fight another person, like another
Right,
dude, but I will fight a goose for you.
I think that the goose defense and the shark defense are the same.
Punch.
Put an arm in front of your significant other and punch with your other hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That tracks.
And interestingly enough, that's also how you're supposed to handle Grey Gardener attacks.
Oh, good transition.
Thank you. I was really looking for an in there.
I'll give it a
far.
5.
If you'll join me for a second, we're actually going to hop in a mental submarine. We're going to dip.
I'm out.
Too far.
We're going to dip below the surface of the story we're on now and drift down to the depths of character background.
Ooh.
Near a small pier, on the edge of a bustling harbor, shrouded figures begin to slowly materialize and become visible against the dim, starlit shore. You can see the ship traffic in Aspo Bay was heavy for this time of night, but no one really paid heed to this poorly constructed walkway on the outskirts of Augustana's Aqueous Highway, full of commerce and the home of their military might. More notably, no one paid attention to the individuals there. Silhouettes shrouded by fog and the sea spray. On this particularly dreary night, if one were to approach the shoreline, would become clearer as you worked your way through the fog. The first thing you see as the camera kind of works its way through, it's this just massive figure. You can barely pick out their structure, their stature and size. This dusky gray cloak pulled over its head. Form shrouded by dark and draping cloth. All you can really see is a bovine snout. It's barely visible from underneath the cloak's cowl. It's easy for you to piece together as fantasy fans from this point of view that it's something like a minotaur. In his hand, he holds this thick iron chain. And as the camera works its way down the chain, you can see where it's fastened to shackle after shackle, maybe a dozen or so children? No, halflings you can see from their face of all ages and size are secured along this chain. Right now they're standing in silence, their postures stiff and sort of at attention as the Minotaur paces back and forth. Finally, the camera's at such an angle you can barely make out his eyes underneath the hood, this intense gaze, cowing all of them, no pun intended, into silence. Changing the perspective a little bit, you can see that in front of them and closer to the water's edge, there's 3 more figures, all clothed in maroon cloaks. Around their shoulders, the hoods over their heads. You can pick out at first an older human male, short-cropped, stark white hair, finely groomed goatee on a square, broad jaw. Looking at the 2 figures with him, "You took care of the guards, I assume, Nicoletta?" The woman he's talking to is striking. There's long, honey-colored spirals of hair cascading down a youthful and striking face. She rolls her eyes. "Yes, Father, we understood the routine. The on-duty patrolmen have been paid sufficiently to delay their wandering in this direction. The evening is ours." "Good." He turns his gaze back out to the sea, the spray splashing up in front of him. He's pacing nervously, each time just a bit closer to the restless waves. "I've never seen him this on edge," the woman whispers to the other figure at her side. She looks into their eyes, searching for reassurance, calm.
Lord Damasi is a savvy businessman. He knows what he's doing, and if for some reason things go poorly, well..."
The words trail off as he turns his head towards the menacing Minotaur. The 2 share a smile. Nicoletta's posture goes from tense to relax a bit, her body language sort of softening into the figure you now recognize as Valen Fox. His familiar blue skin visible as he pulls her into a warming embrace against the cool, damp night as they wait for something to happen. It might just be minutes, but in the tense evening it feels like hours before through the mist you can just begin to see the outline of a rowboat gliding towards the damaged jetty. It gets to the edge, settles against it. You can see 2 powerfully built creatures standing from rowing and beginning to tie down the small vessel. They're large, vaguely humanoid, sporting frills that sort of encircle these angular fish-like faces, sharp, needle-thin teeth, yellowed, scales coming back from what at first appears to be skin, now showing more of an emerald green fish appearance. Behind them, though, a lithe, more humanoid, feminine figure slips out of the boat, almost gliding agilely up onto the pier. Clothed in fine robes that seem to keep away the moisture of the evening, perhaps even repel them, you can see lavender eyes shining, cunning, and intelligently looking over the scene. Her pointed ears becoming visible, pale blue skin make it clear what you have here is an aquatic elf. The human Lord de Mercy, pushes his hood back, goatee prominently displayed, strong white hair, as he walks forward towards the elven woman. Her Sahuagin bodyguards, bearing vicious-looking tridents, spring them forward as if to defend her, but with a wave of her hand, she dismisses them. They return to standing at the edge of the pier, just on guard. Lord de Mercy looks up. Anara, I presume? She nods, taking in the group in front of her and moves towards the shackled halflings. She looks them over one by one, not saying a thing, inspecting each as if they were produce at the market, not living creatures. After looking over the dozen or so slaves, she approaches Lord de Mercy again. It seems as though you have kept your word, so my kin and I will as well. She produces a pouch, hands it to him. The Lord inspects it, pulls out several of the valuable gems, eyes them over before placing them in the bag, tossing the bag over to Nicoletta. Thank you, and thank your kin for me. I believe this partnership will be fruitful for us all. I can have more in 2 weeks' time if that's agreeable. His tense demeanor turns more businesslike as the tone of the interaction shifts from the initial distrust to intense, tense negotiations. Another dozen or so will be fine, Aldous. We'll bring the same payment in 2 weeks. A pleasure. She snaps. The Sahuagin guard take their chains from the looming bull-headed guardian, and they begin to lead the halflings. The Minotaur stands there with his sizable gloved hand on a massive sword's crossguard, but takes no move against the outsiders as they slowly march the slaves onto the wharf. Valen and Nicoletta share a worried glance as Anara produces a vial of purplish viscous liquid and begins to pour a little bit under the first halfling's tongue. His eyes grow wide with fear as you can see skin-like membranes beginning to grow over his mouth and nose. He starts to grasp at his throat, trying to draw breath, and is unable to bring air into his lungs. At that moment, though, Vanlin notices that the skin on the halfling's neck begins to, pull apart. It looks almost painful. You can still see where little bits of sinew and blood are stretching across this new slit in the side of his neck. As it grows wider, it becomes apparent there are growing these gills. That aquatic elf unlocks that halfling's shackles and just shoves him down into the water. One of the Sahuagin guard follow him in, disappearing underneath the dark waves of the evening sea. Each halfling is given a draught, or at least enough of a drink, to go through the same process. Lord de Mercy seems unmoved by the display, and once the last halfling is gone beneath the waves, he looks to Valen and Nicoletta. Do a quick patrol. Make sure we weren't watched. If we were, take care of it. Aldous de Mercy strides away, Minotaur bodyguard in tow. A large carriage greets them. They step into it and are taken away towards the inner heart of Augustana. Anara and the remaining Sahuagin bodyguard work their way into the water, dipping beneath the surface until eventually the water calms. Valen gives Nicoletta's hand a squeeze.
You go right, I'll go left, and I'll meet you back at the manor. I may stop at Gerard's for a drink, but I won't be long.
Don't keep me waiting, my love. She gives him a long, pleading, sultry look. The Saul pout as she turns away.
Not even the Lady of Graves could pull me away.
He gives her a wink, moves in the opposite direction down the now cold and humid street. He gives a convincing show of scouring high and low for prying eyes until he's out of sight and assuredly alone. Valen meanders for quite a while before entering a seedy tavern, the sign above the door reading "Restless Spirits." He finds an unoccupied corner booth, pulls up his hood, produces a small book. Imagine the camera angle kind of shifts over his shoulder, goes in for that detail shot. You can see musings and reflections written out in this book from times past. He's flipping through them until he finds a blank, almost final page in the book. Small charcoal pencil comes out and he writes,
Everything is going as planned. I'm close to the heiress, but many obstacles are still present. I will need more time.
there's something about the charcoal as it materializes on the page that makes you wonder if it's more than just simple writing. Perhaps there's something magically at play as they almost disappear into the page. They're gone within a few moments. As that happens, Valen puts the journal away and just sits there, waiting. It's not long before a camera angle changes over the door. The same sign is visible. A hunched figure works its way into restless spirits, hobbles its way over to Valen's table. You can barely, underneath the hood, make out eyes underneath a dark, somewhat gauzy, transparent veil. Valen knows that the cane this figure is walking on is more than just a walking aid. This figure sits down in the booth opposite the halfling, leans in very close.
What did you see?
Valen asks him, staring down at the gloss of the wooden tabletop.
I saw enough.
Drosharis replies,
Oh, shit.
Can you help?
I am afraid I must.
So we start to pull out of that moment. And I imagine there's a little bit sort of similarity in that scene between these two as we go back and travel forward in time.
Can't believe you guys did a sneaky scene without us.
Know each other.
Here's the thing. I'm really glad that worked out that way because, like, through the majority of that, I was like, Fox is a dick. Selling halflings to the ocean
You know?
people.
You gotta do what you gotta do to make a living.
Like, I have been very misled about the character
If you
of
want to
this
make an omelet, you got to
character.
break some eggs.
I think you've touched on it a couple times that you have this sort of like infiltration and disruption
Right.
background, but it's interesting to see that.
You're a freaking spy.
Kinda.
Dun, 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 dun. But now I like to think about sort of seeing the two of you leaning in close again and trying to figure out what to do, because we're in Litron. We're in a map store called The People's Maps. And
Original.
yeah, it's, you know, it works.
Maps.
It's one of those names which you're like, oh, what does this place do? And they're like, oh, it's maps
For the people.
For the people.
by the people,
Maps for the people.
of the people.
It's like the FUBU version of maps. Mubu.
And so you're in here, and around you are a couple of notable things. There's at least one Grey Gardener assassin body. There's the body of
Yep.
this really strange, remember the sort of like hulking, multicolored eyed, weird, hooded,
Oh,
large
yeah.
creature.
Sure do.
There's a small, the proprietor of this shop, Tristel Liendi, is kind of freaking the heck out. Because if you remember exactly where we ended, was while you were talking to Tristel, you found out some interesting information. She'd been tracking the location and movements of the gardener's famous Final Blade executioners. Well, the executioner's blades called Final Blades. And she'd noted, well, actually, I believe it was Val who noted that they were being moved into the largest population centers across the countryside. And it was right as you figured this out, there was a knock on the door. And I think like two eyeballs floated in through round cracks in the door. And that's when this fight erupted in there. And I think the fight went totally fine, right? There wasn't anything weird that happened?
I
Nothing
mean,
weird.
they
Actually,
dragged him, or he was outside and they had to drag him back in, right?
Oh, that's right.
I think if we actually have just like 30 seconds before,
Sure.
you know, these people bust down the door and kill us all,
Of course.
I think Val would look over at Fox and be like, what was that?
I did what needed to be done.
Oh, what? Oh, no. What have you done? Bring him here.
No. Don't try to fix this guy. I just now killed him.
What? Oh, why are we killing people now?
He's a great gardener. I'm not saying I have any objection to him being dead. I'm just saying, did we have to do it in the town square?
If we didn't do it there, then where would we do it?
All right,
This is
fair enough.
no. This is unacceptable.
Listen,
Watson-
if we have to kill every great gardener along the way just to cover our asses now, I guess there are worse things.
And so you're at that point now. I can imagine Fox and Drosharis in there. You've just closed the door, bringing back in this Grey Gardener that attempted to flee from your fight at the end. Fox and Valentine chased them out into the street, killed them in public. Now, there was some disruption to it. Watson threw up a wall of whirling wind, kicking up some dust, and Drosharis had a moment to sort of summon this inky, dark mist to obscure, but there was a moment where people outside could see a rare sight. A gardener being chased down like the prey of a hunt. And though it may have been in mist, Fox executing them.
After a cowboy speech.
After a cowboy speech.
Yeah.
And dragging them back inside. And where we left off exactly last time, according to my notes here, as you shut the door, you looked at each other, and you could hear the voices outside beginning to call for guards.
Here's the thing. Well, we didn't know they were calling for guards. You were just like, they're saying something and we'll find out next time. So that's bad news. But Val has no qualms about killing this Grey Gardener. She hates all the Grey Gardeners and is fine with that. Really, it's coming down to the cowboy speech for her. But also, you know, if that's what he's got to do to get the job done, I guess it's fine.
If you want me to remain part of this group, we will not be randomly killing people. I don't care who they are.
Val, is kind of standing behind Watson and looks over at Drosharis and Fox and is like mouthing, it's just a little thing he does, don't worry.
Dwarf, if you expect that this was random, I think you are naive.
Well, I've been called naive many, many times before in my 340 years. Thank you very much. And no, absolutely not.
And he bends down and begins to administer medical aid to this person bleeding out.
Val rolls her eyes.
Oh, we can at least glean some information.
Regardless, the guards are coming. We must act quickly.
Oh.
Can someone lead them away?
Val wants to go over to the door or a crack in the door or the window and see what she sees outside and do a perception. It's not a perception anymore.
Yeah, perception's still
Perception,
a thing.
okay.
Sorry, this is going to be a secret check. What's your perception bonus?
My perception bonus is a plus 25.
Nope.
And she just wants to see what's going on out there.
So you look outside and you see a crowd sort of tentatively forming in a semicircle. No one's getting too close to this obscuring mist that appeared, because why in the world would you get closer to an inky black magical mist that people just got murdered in?
I believe it was described as olive
drab. Sure, so this olive drab mist. And you can hear the cries coming for the guards. It's an odd situation. I don't think it's hard for anyone to sort of mentally think about the gymnastics they're having to do. Obviously, the gardeners are here in this town, and no one is particularly a fan of them, but no one wants to be seen being not a fan of the gardeners. So you see a small crowd on the outskirts of the street, sort of giving you a little bit of distance. There's maybe 13 people you can pick out really quickly coming to the edge, probably more on the way.
Okay. We have to go.
There's other people in here with us, is that right?
There's the halfling map maker, Trista Leandi, and she's losing it. That's not fair. This has been a very traumatic experience.
Sure.
People just bursted in here to kill her. All of you killed them instead and were then seen killing a gardener.
Okay. Val is going to look at Trista Leandi and be like, come with us or stay here and get framed for the murder of a Grey Gardener. We have to go.
Even if I leave, this is my shop. This happened here. Everyone's going to know that I was involved in.
Wait,
the garden.
it's okay, darling. Is there some sort of basement or some such place where we can hide out?
You could go behind my map table, but no, it is just one way in and out.
Oh dear.
It's yes, it's not so good now.
How many gardener uniforms do we have?
You killed 2. There was the giant, sort of muscly, fleshy eyeball creature who wasn't wearing anything.
I would also like to retroactively say one thing.
Go
As we
on.
were dragging the guy's body back in, Val definitely picked up her gun.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
That did happen.
I don't know. I think
No, you jumped the gun by saying we went inside.
That
I
gun's
grabbed the gun on the way.
look, I may have jumped the gun, but you dropped the gun.
Okay, shut up.
Yeah, you kind of pick it up.
One guy out there is like, hell, this fucking awesome gun I got.
So,
The town guard show up. Drop the gun.
yikes.
We have two options. We can try to lie our way out of here, or we can.
We should all tie ourselves
way
up
out.
and like sit in the corner like, oh my God, they got us.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I am a terrible liar.
He is a really bad liar.
If Val and Drasharish can put on the costume or the
Oh yeah, didn't
and
we
you
talk
guys
about
tie
this?
yourselves like
and you
tie ourselves
apprehend us.
We should.
I'll gag you so you don't have to talk.
We're doing the,
We're gonna
We're gonna do
Chewbacca
the
this guy.
Chewbacca this In a game recently, this is how we all died. So let's hope that it goes well.
Let's hope that it goes better.
oh dear.
My plan was also that Val was gonna make it look like the owner of the map shop got murdered. You know, like drop-
She's like, wait, we're gonna what?
No, I'm not really gonna kill her because I think she still has like information for us, and so I think we should still just try to bebop and scat out of here. But
Skibbity bop beep doo.
scoobity-bop,
Everything's
bop,
fine
bop,
here.
Bye.
How
There's
are
still
you?
obscuring mist out there, right? Like we could just run away.
You do have a brief window in which you could just boogie.
Let's boogie.
I think Fox before we boogie looks at Trishelle. Is that her name?
Tristel.
Tristel.
A little
Yes.
illustration here of
Who,
a halfling with large circular glasses and curly red hair, who here looks happy, but right now,
Oh,
It's
we
not
talked
happy.
about this. She looks like the lady from Cheers.
that's right.
yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, Carla. Yeah.
And he says, "Who are these people?" And he pulls the masks off the Great Gardeners.
I do not know. They just people, I suppose. I mean, this one looks slightly familiar. Perhaps I've seen him around town, but that's the fear of the gardeners here. No, there could be anyone who is not a gardener could be an informant. You can't even trust your own family.
If I am to help this man, we have approximately 18 seconds. So, what are we going to do?
All right, quick vote: boogie or try to lie our way out.
I say, dip.
Dip. I'm also on the dip team.
Like you can vote it or you can play it out. What would your characters do? Forget you as players. What would your characters do?
Val is going to say, I think we should leave. And she's going to look at Tristel and be like, I don't know who's a gardener, but I know that we're not them. And you can come with us or you can get arrested for their murder.
I don't. They're going to. Okay.
And so Val's going to, like, as we're running out, she's just going to kind of run over to Tristel's desk, which I think we're by.
Yep.
And she's just going to take out her dagger and, like, cut her own hand and, like, splatter blood around the desk to kind of make it look like maybe she
Why
got
don't we
killed
get it
with
from the
this.
dead body? And we don't have to hurt ourselves.
You know
She
what?
did what she did.
I did. I said what I said, Drosharis.
I'm not healing you.
She turns around and throws her dagger at Drosharis.
I guess I wasn't
Hits him in the
thinking
neck.
about that.
Roll for initiative.
Yeah. And is just to try to make it look like she
Sure.
was killed somehow.
All right. So this is going to be just a quick deception check.
Deception.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
can
skill
we,
in this
like,
game,
aid
right?
and help.
I've
with
been
all
playing
this?
Pathfinder 2nd Edition for like a few years. That's a skill, right?
Okay, so that was,
Doing math here.
yeah, that was a natural 4 for
Great.
a 32.
All right. It's
Pretty good.
it's not bad.
Yeah,
You know, it's pretty bloody.
she's pretty good at lying.
Yeah. So you.
But I just, like, maybe I'll, like, grab the pen she holds or something to make it look like she was nabbed.
Okay. All right. Time's moving quick. That's what
And then we
you've
boogie.
done. I'm just gonna move clockwise around the table. So that means Jason, Drosharis, you're up. What are you doing? What's going through your head?
Going through my head is we have to go somewhere where we can't be seen, and my safe house seems like a good place for people who need to lay low to go
Oh.
to. So that's something that I'm.
Why'd you
If
look
we're
at me?
Sorry.
boogieing,
Do you have a different safe house from our collective bird host safe house?
I technically have a 10 by 10 foot space that is for me that I can hide in when I
Cool.
need to avoid notice as a vigilante.
Just a closet? Or
It's essentially
gonna say
like a,
10
yeah,
by 10 is
it's,
not
r-
gonna
it's
be
just
very
small
big
enough for you to
problem.
get in, but I can hide you in it, Val.
It's an extra
Or
large
Fox,
coffin.
Sorry, Fox. So we don't necessarily need to hide all of us in there.
Let's just play it out.
Watson and Val will just be walking down the street like do do do.
Yeah, I would say that I grab Fox and do we grab the dead body too? Do we grab the body?
Absolutely not. I will stay here with you.
No.
You can't stay here.
Play it out. All right, Fox, what do you do?
Fox says, "Why don't you save the healing for those who deserve it?"
I will deal with whatever fallout befalls me. You do not worry about this.
I reach over and I cast invisibility on Watson.
Nice.
Oh,
Val's like, God damn.
And haste on myself.
okay.
Now I'm just
Even though you're blind, Drasharis is staring directly into your eyes.
now I'm just confused. I can't even see myself
He's
anymore.
blind?
Or sorry,
Wait,
invisible.
what's
I was
happening?
like, wait,
That's why
was
you
this
can't see
something
anything.
that I missed?
You're not invisible, you're blind.
Is this the cold embrace and death I've been waiting for?
Okay. So,
If it's been less than a minute, I still am moving fast with my cool boots.
okay.
So, gonna run away.
Fox is heading out the back door.
There's no back door. There's one door.
Window?
Windows.
That does not seem up to code, and I think you're lying.
I have a map right here.
There's no windows in this thing?
No.
There's not a single window, and there's only one door.
Correct. Oh, it's a double door, but yes.
Do you have any more of them mist?
The mist is still active. This
Okay.
is
Yeah.
we
Okay.
are in quick moments.
Val
we
is
take-
following Fox out the front door.
Stealthing out the front door
Okay.
within the mist.
Same.
All right. Quick question here. Do any of you have that feat where only one person in the party has to make the stealth check?
Yeah, I think I do.
Follow the
Ooh,
expert.
I don't.
Wait, what's it called?
I don't know.
Follow the expert.
That's
Yeah.
the action, but there's a stealth feat where if one person has it, only the lowest.
I think that I have it too.
All right, we'll assume you have it, and if not later, then you can all grovel. That's how this works, right?
Maybe I didn't.
Sure.
Maybe I took something else instead.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do then. Which actually, I have a little cheat sheet here, and I know that of the three of you, Fox and Drosharis have the lowest stealth. So which of you wants to be? We're gonna say Fox. I think this is weighing on you the most.
I have assurance stealth.
Do you want to take assurance? Or do you want to roll?
What is assurance? What's the roll for assurance?
So assurance,
Is it 10?
it's 10 plus your modifier, but not ability score bonus.
I'll do the assurance.
And so in this case, that's just going to represent that like you have spent so much time in your life stealthing that you'll have a consistency with your ability to stealth here. Like you can so reliably under any circumstance at least still be dependably this stealthy. So that's going to be 10 plus what's your proficiency bonus essentially?
It's a total of 32.
Okay. So
I would just like to lodge in the record that I do have quiet allies.
that
There
is
you
the
go.
feat.
Dope.
So you all work out as a group through this just whipping wall of wind.
Who'd you say has the highest?
Right now, Valentine has the highest, and then Drosharis and Fox are both tied with a plus 26.
Really?
Because I have my GM notes, because
We
I
are
was
all very
prepared.
stealthy.
No,
Stealthy,
Watson has a
stealthy.
plus 4.
That's why we made him invisible.
Clunk, clunk.
Oh, he's not following you. He's
Yep. Left
staying
him behind.
here, like
Yeah.
patching up this guy to the best of his ability until someone walks in.
And so we're going to say that the three of you peace out
With the map maker.
with the map maker, who I'm just going to sort of include under one of you. And so we're going to stay. Watson, it's not long before you become invisible. It does take a minute for the guards to show. It does take a little bit for the guards to show up because no guard in their right mind wants to show up to someone fighting Grey Gardeners. Because technically that might be illegal for the Grey Gardeners to do that, but no guard's going to try to arrest what is essentially like a Judge Dredd judge with even fewer morals.
So these are just normal guards. They're not Grey Gardeners.
No, there are just town guard who
Okay.
are at some point show up here.
Gotcha.
Invisibility is a 10-minute duration.
And I imagine that's about how long it takes for the guards to show up.
Okay.
And like Watson, you're doing your best. Are you really trying to save this person?
Oh, yeah.
All right, give me a medicine check.
'Kay.
Which I think is pretty high for you.
Yeah, I'm just going to auto roll here.
Sure.
It's going to be a 42.
So you're able to stabilize this. Of course, the other one is dead. And of course, the weird creature that you don't really know what it is, but the thing with all the eyes sort of in its folds of exposed raw, like muscle flesh is definitely dead.
Gross.
So this person becomes conscious.
They stabilize. They don't become conscious unless you are intending to make them conscious.
Yeah, he wants to make them conscious. Basically put a hand over their mouth and sort of say,
We are of the group that defeated you. I want you to tell these guards to go away, and we will deal with the consequences after. But these poor innocent guards have no role to play in any of this.
And just sort of looks at you. You'll die beneath an executioner's blade.
Well, yes, that's very fine, but we can deal with that later.
And sort of right at that time, door slams open, and there's a small patrol of these guards that come in, dressed in mostly leather, a breastplate here or there, bearing just the symbol and arms of the town of Litron.
There is nothing more detrimental to a Pathfinder game than a moral character.
They come in, they see you, got kind of like, imagine like musketeer, has almost like puffy sleeves, sort of the rakish hats.
I like your fancy clothing.
It's an odd way to greet people. They're just surrounded by dead bodies.
I'm only dressed in last
Are you
season's
still
rhino
invisible? Or are
hide.
they just hearing this? Like,
No, he's
microphones
visible at this
exploded.
point. They come in, the lead guard. What did this that happened? Oh my God. What has happened here? Who are you, dwarf?
Well, hello. My name is Watson Himmelgear. I've come here from a long ways away. Mostly I've just been about sort of healing people during the festival, you see.
One of the other guards steps forward, places a hand on the first one who spoke. Yeah. Do not listen to him. This is not for us to deal with. Just take him in. Let him explain himself to someone who can listen. Someone who has the power to listen and not judge these.
Shit.
You see these masks. These are the gardeners here. This is not for us. Just get him out of here. And two other guards come up with manacles.
I say we leave him.
Three of you are already gone. You are out of here. You're in your 10
No, I
foot
know.
ba-
I'm just saying. It's like, this seems bad. This seems like bad news.
I mean, my plan was to drop this guy off and eventually find you. If you're
Yeah.
in jail, that's going to make it harder.
We're playing this out. All right.
I like the shrug over there just from Trent.
If there's like
But I'm not
manacles
saying
on
I'm
him,
upset about that either.
if he's
Like,
being like walked away, he's just kind of like,
Hey, do you have any porridge in your keep? I will say it's been a hot minute here since I've had a nice hot meal.
Are we going to have a jail break
we're going to have a
episode?
heist.
My God.
Heist episode.
Tonight's gonna be a
We let the
jailbreak.
non-stealthy guy get arrested. And
Yeah.
then we're going to go get him.
Yeah.
Classic misdirection.
But we all need to sleep tonight. That way we have all of our stuff.
We'll
Yeah,
see you
no joke.
tomorrow. Good luck in there, buddy.
So
That's why
Wat-
you need to spend a night in jail. Think about the nice things that you did.
Think about what you did.
things you did.
How dare you?
Watson, do you let them?
Oh yeah, totally. I
Okay.
mean, no resistance whatsoever.
They kind of pick you up, and it's a
They're just carrying him in a little like baby wrap.
baby
This is
Bjorn.
actually quite nice on my joints, I will say. It's a long walk for me, so I appreciate you picking me up. Thank you.
I imagine you're still walking, though. Like, as you're hanging, you have your stick and your feet are moving.
Let me finish my sentence. They pick you up to your feet.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I like it better the other way.
Put you in manacles. And it's one of those interesting things in which you kind of hear them like, yeah, write up a report, but leave out any note of the gardeners. Just say we found a dwarf here, covered in blood with bodies. Be nondescript. And don't say how many, in case the masks come here to reclaim their own. I don't want them coming from my family. And the other one's like, what are you talking about? Falsify the report? Do you want to find your head on the block of an execution? No, of course not.
Yeah, I don't recommend falsifying any reports or anything.
They're
Gag
like,
him.
shut up. The Grey Gardener show up and Watson's like, these men falsified all their reports.
So while he's sort of being walked away,
Yeah.
he's looking into the sky for birds and sort of making the
Oh, Timothy.
he's sort of relaying to them like, hey, keep watch, like keep point the path for my my friends about where they're taking me.
We're running away and we just see this line of birds like pointing with their wings. Like, right there.
They formed an arrow in the air.
They're doing like sky art.
Yeah.
They do the arrow, but they have a side gig too. So then it's like, come down to Chewy's for half off sausages. Sure. So you're led down in manacles. Two of the guards stay there to finish the scene. And it's pretty clear that they're going to leave it really nondescript. They're trying to get this paperwork in, finish it up. 2 more of them lead you down to the watch house. Throw you in a cell. Clang, lock it up, and they leave you sitting there.
Very loud.
Well, you can explain yourself to the... So you can explain yourself later. For now, just... Merde, just stay there.
Okay. Do you have any, rubber balls and some
They
spikes
walk away.
Oh, okay.
He's going to start talking with nature spirits in here.
Squeak, 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 squeak.
He's going to consult the spirits, in fact.
Oh, shit. What's that?
Roll recall knowledge over 10 minutes to question resident spirits about matters related to their nature. He's literally just like chatting up
the dead bodies,
nature
prisoner
spirits.
people.
All right. So what are you interested in learning?
What does it feel like for them to transition between the different planes?
It's interesting that you asked that philosophical question because you know
We
what?
are on a timeline.
This is Paizo's Pathfinder 2nd edition. So Trent, you know what? There's a rule for that.
I'm going to go get a snack.
No, there's actually not a rule for talking about transcendence, but there is some really interesting stuff in the Gods and Magic book that talk about how you move to the different planes.
Yeah.
Most people, as a fun side note, in case it comes up, will find themselves shepherded to a plane of existence called the Boneyard. The Boneyard is presided over by a god called Pharasma. Pharasma is a really interesting god. Pharasma is, I think, hard, true, neutral.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of gods that are like that. And her whole shtick is about the balance of life and death. The only thing that is anathema to Pharasma is something that attempts to turn back the flow of life. Healing someone, totally fine. Even bringing someone back from the dead can be right if it's sort of a part of fate and time. But undead, and the spirits that play and meddle with the spirits of the dead are so unholy that followers of Pharasma will follow them across the bounds of Galarian, across the plains of the galaxy, to hunt and kill and exterminate anyone who would. It's without prejudice will they hunt down, with extreme prejudice will they hunt down and take out anyone who follows against it. So,
Isn't this a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie?
Time Cop. Time Cop, Pharasma edition.
I actually played an Oracle of Time that worshipped Pharasma, and it was exactly the premise of...
I really thought you were going to say you played an Oracle of Time that worshipped Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Worship Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Every
Next
morning
time.
he wakes up and just does the splits.
That's my monk backup character.
Played by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
But, we don't have to play out this conversation. I just imagine that he's
Sure.
just kind of like, if someone were passing by the cell, he's just like, oh, and what does that feel like? Oh, fascinating. I'm sorry if you feel any pain while that happens.
So I think you're in there for an hour, maybe 2. Just long enough for all of you to kind of freak out. So you know what? Let's see what that's like. 3 of you. What are you doing? You're in a 10-foot by 10-foot coffin.
Yeah,
That's-
10-foot cube.
You
I'm
just
not in
rented a
there.
space like at a WeWork.
Yeah. The she work.
We can't all fit in there, right?
Yeah. If we're all standing on a 5-foot... Like-
all right.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can go somewhere else. You can go
Is
back
it like
to...
a little secret dimension or something? Like what
No.
is? Where are we?
Actually, yeah. So you know what? Take a little bit of narrative control here.
Yep.
Jason. Paint me the scene. Where are you going? Talk to us a little bit about your hideout that you've established. You've been here for like 2.5 days at this point.
I have assumed that the dispensary has a basement.
That's right. I forgot. Nature's. I almost called it Nature's Herbs.
Nature's herbs.
Nature Mama or Soul Mama
Soul
herbs.
Mamas. So in the basement of Soul Mamas, I have set up a 10-foot cube space.
Soul Mother's Herbs.
Soul Mother's Herbs. So we can hide in that space in the basement, but
Sure.
it doesn't have to necessarily be all of us. I'm more just the people who just murdered someone in broad daylight are the ones that need to hide. Because I don't know who's coming after us. I don't know if we're being followed or pursued.
Well, Val would certainly, like, as we were getting out of there, have done a perception to see if we're being followed.
Right, I would have too. Like something to see if we're being stealthed.
All right, Val, what's your bonus? And Drosharis, what's yours to perception?
Plus 25 for Val.
Okay.
Plus 24.
All right, Val, you don't notice anyone following you. Drosharis, maybe? but you can't get a peg on anyone.
Drosharis has had some asshole following him for a while.
And I sort
Yeah.
of feel like I know, but I don't.
You
All
don't
right.
know.
Even though I know.
You know?
Jason knows.
Jason knows. Yeah, Jane knows.
So you're in the basement of Soul Mother's Herbs, in a little section you've managed to wall off with crates or supplies to make it look like there's false walls there.
One of those nice, like, partitions with all the Asian decor that people change behind. It's just one of those.
Oh, yeah, it's like the screens.
Yeah. You can see our shadows behind it. It's not.
It's a perfect hideout.
The guards come down there. We're like, no one's
No
back
one's here.
here.
Oh, close your eyes.
I'm changing.
It was just the wind. But you're down there, and Tristell's, oh no, okay, will we be safe here? Is it safe?
This is safe. It's extremely safe.
But your friend, is he going to rat us out?
He'll be fine. You'll be safe as long as you tell us what you know.
You know more than me. You found me at my shop. You saw the maps. You were the one who pieced it together on the bits with the patterns. You saw them moving the blades.
Do I believe her?
Yes.
Okay.
If we were to let you go, would you be a liability?
I do not know where I'd go. The guards, the gardeners will know that their ilk, their kin were killed in my shop. I am a dead halfling walking, no?
Do we know, we were able to sniff out that there's a blade in the market somewhere, right? Or not the market, but the festival, or wherever the festival's taking
Yes.
Like a final blade?
There is at least one blade in the market, is what she kind of, at least one was moved to town, and she thinks it was moved into the market.
Right. So we have a lead there. I mean, obviously, we need to lay low for a minute. At least I need to lay low. Okay, I just wanted to establish that just because I couldn't remember.
All right.
I think Val would. She's peeved.
Mhm.
Val is severely peeved, but she yes at you.
For the listening audience, Trent's sitting over there indicating, is it him?
Yeah, Val is severely peeved, but I think she just sort of feels like her best course of action in kind of deflecting the blame is to just go out like normal. So she's going to go out and kind of look around. Because also, like, with this halfling, I think she feels like these two characters who are a vigilante and an eagle knight, are going to be better at handling this halfling and, like, what to do with her than Val. And she is concerned about Watson, though she is very ruffled and irritated. So she's going to walk outside and just, like, glower at the birds and be, like, waiting for them to show her where he is.
Is that sort of a system you think that you've worked with before? Why do you know to look for the birds?
Because she always sees him talking to birds. She's going to go out there and she's going to look at the first bird she sees that, like, might not even know anything about Watson and just be like, yeah, I know you know.
So where is he?
Where is he?
It's like, we are
Stupid
not all
feathered
this.
fuck.
We are not. I have no idea what this woman is talking about.
Like, she's just going to stand out there, arms folded, and glower at every bird until it starts. But, like, I think she also probably knows he got arrested. Like,
This bird's gonna fly home that night and be like, I had the worst Karen experience today.
So anyway, I was shitting on this guy's head.
So I want to kind of stay on that scene down there in the safe space. Fox, how's Fox feeling? What's Fox doing or saying?
I think I think he knows he messed up a little bit. I don't think he feels bad that he messed up, but I think he knows that, like, all right, cover's blown a little bit. Should probably lay low and kind of let everyone else take the lead at the moment. So I think he'd say to Drosharis, he'd say, I can stay here with the halfling if you will figure out what happened to Watson and let me know how I can help. But for now, I'm happy to lay low. If that's what you think is best.
We definitely need to go find the dwarf. Looks at Val.
Val's already outside
Oh,
yelling at birds.
I'll go see what Val wants to do. Sounds like she's yelling at birds again.
Again?
You go out there and she's just throwing rocks at sparrows. I don't have time for this.
We have to go find him.
Yeah, I think I already have a pretty good guess as to where he is.
Let's go.
Do we get any info from the birds? Are they going to point us kind of in the direction?
Don't look
of
at me.
where
Look at
Let me
the
see what I got here.
GM.
Look at the birds.
Can
Look at
any
the
of
Can I
you
roll nature?
Well, he did tell the birds, like, hey, show my friends where I am.
Are any of you at least an expert in nature?
No.
Looking around.
Are these
Looking
battle
around.
pigeons? I got warfare
I'm
lore.
trained in nature.
Not going to be enough here.
sleeping on the couch tonight.
You know what you
You,
did.
you didn't let me talk to the birds.
There's nothing more tense than a couple in a D&D game.
Especially when one's the DM.
Yeah. Is it,
Look,
what
don't
do I
talk about
have,
Jason and I that way.
what do I have to roll to know that he's in jail? Or is that just
I
common
was going to
sense?
say, can I go like rooftopping and see if I can like listen in to, oh, they just dragged this fucking dwarf down the street and threw him in jail or whatever.
So you've got a couple options.
Yeah.
You can obviously try to gather information. If that's what your goal, you could just go to a jail if you're interested in
Is
that.
there more than one jail here?
You don't know. You haven't asked.
Really quick too. What time
Sure.
of day is it?
Oh, I say that. Where's the jail?
Asking for a friend. Where's the
They've got
jail?
my
I
cousin
think I've
in
got
there.
a friend in there.
I mean, society check?
You know, we got
Oh,
a
yeah, I'll
little
do a society
drunk.
check to see if I can figure out where the jail is.
I could do a society as well.
All right. So we're going to go. The white die here is Valentine. The red, sort of blood red die is Troshars.
Okay.
What are your society bonuses?
20.
Plus 29.
Jeez. So yeah, you both ask around town, and you're able to quickly find sort of the guard watch house.
There's a building that says jail. On the
Jail.
outside.
Giant.
Neon arrows pointing towards it. Can you answer my question about what time of day it is?
It's evening now at this point because it's been a little bit.
It's about time.
So
to
I think Val
disappear.
is going to just look at Drosharis and be like, I think we both know the old man is in jail. I say we let the sun go down a little farther and then see what we can do about that.
I do my best work at night.
I know. And she sort of like rolls her eyes, but
That's eye rolling.
do we have maybe like an hour before it gets really dark?
Yeah.
Okay. Val wants to kill time for a little bit. Wait for it.
What did Ty?
I want to kill time.
Val would
We're
like
gonna
to.
have to kill Ty.
All right. Can we just get it together a little?
Go on.
Val would like to take some time before it gets dark and we go full jailbreak mode. And if it's possible, if we're nearby, kind of try to figure out where if that final blade is out in the town or nearby, like where the
Sure.
festival is. She wants to just whatever she's got to roll or figure out to study that a little bit, see what it looks like, see if anybody's talking about it nearby. Or
Sure.
if she can glean any information. So I guess gather information about that final
Yeah, and
blade.
that's going to be a factor of a diplomacy check. And that's going to be a secret one because you won't know how good or how poorly you do. What's your diplomacy?
Plus 24.
Wow. Okay. So looking around, you're not able, this as people are kind of going into the evening, you don't find anything new. You're talking around, you're listening. Are you engaging much? Paint this picture for me.
Yeah, so where's the final blade?
You don't exactly know. You've heard
I'm
some
not
rumors.
like near it.
You've heard some rumors that there might have been one moved into here into Litran, and you've heard that there's one at the monastery, but you've also heard that there's potentially one somewhere in a more public area. You suspect something to do with the like harvest festival, but you don't know exactly where that would be.
Okay. So Val's just kind of walking around like shops and different places out in town and kind of chatting people up and explaining that she's new to town and she came from the harvest festival and is there any sort of new things going on and people say the funniest things about Litron when you're far away and she doesn't really know whether or not to believe them, like these stories of the final blades, and just kind of rubbing elbows with people and trying to glean some information that way.
Just leaving Watson to rot. Think
Yeah.
about what he did.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm watching guard shifts and people walk and people mill about to try and and I can use like warfare lore or something to do this, to like figure out the best window for us to go in.
Okay. This would be a perception check.
Okay.
It's pretty simple. You're just watching stuff. What's that bonus?
Plus 24.
Sable, you were able to get a pretty good one. Most of the guards can be working out of the judicial building. It's a pretty imposing stone courthouse, taller than most of the other civic buildings around it, right at the center of the city.
Are any of them gardeners?
You don't see any gardeners there. Your guess here, or just what you've picked up, is that the gardeners are the ultimate authority in town. But that's not always a formal thing. They're sort of the idea, the premise that there is traditional law here. But you don't know what kind of power it has.
Light bulb.
Ding. Okay, so if I'm done, Val's going to link back up with Drosharis. What did you find out?
Well, one thing I found out is that there are no Grey Gardeners. And I wonder if we could use a uniform as authority to take custody of this prisoner. Or we get more people and we just go in there and get him out.
So you're saying sneak in or guns blazing?
With guns blazing being a backup
Backup plan.
to the original.
So perhaps I don the costume of the Grey Gardeners and march you in there as though you were my prisoner.
I think we're going to need
I'm
more
definitely the Grey
help.
Gardener. Dibs on the Gardener role.
We have two, right?
I don't remember.
We show up, we're Grey Gardeners. We're taking this prisoner that just killed another Grey Gardener.
Okay, yes.
And they're
I
going to
like
be
this
scared
plan.
because I have a feeling they covered it up.
I like this plan, and I believe we should do it.
All right.
Can I have a quick conversation with the NPC?
Yeah. So we'll cut back. We got Fox in there with the little halfling Tristel.
They're sitting in this basement.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fox is just kind of like sitting, leaning against the wall.
Yes.
He says, "Do you have any family here?"
Yeah. Not so much anymore. I had a mother, but she passed away 2 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that. Losing loved ones is tough.
Yeah.
I think what we did today, and I apologize, has disrupted your life greatly. But we're hoping that we can bring some light to Galt that hasn't been here for some time, years and years. I hope you can understand that our role here is larger than just what we've shown today.
Yeah. I hope you are able to be successful, but the gardeners, they always seem to survive, no? They are like cockroaches that can murder a whole town and walk away feeling superior for it.
The Great Gardeners are going to be a page in this history book, but hopefully the chapter will be short.
How long must the book be? For 50 years to be a short chapter, but I wish you the best.
It's as long as Les Mis.
Do you have any information that would help us in this endeavor? I know you have told us as much as you can, but if you can search your memory banks for anything that would be useful.
Searching memory banks. I know, honestly, I have been tracking their movements. And it was your friend, the sort of sullen, scary woman. I do not remember her name. She saw the patterns that I did not, and I fear with the chatter that we hear about the gardeners planning something, and these horrible final blades being moved into the population centers, into the largest gatherings across our country. I fear that they must be planning something. No, it cannot be good for any of us.
Yes, there's some sort of plan, but
And all that I might know is just I know that there's that blade of which I spoke being moved around our market here, and I fear that as everyone comes into town for that festival, I fear for their safety, and almost as much as I fear for mine. Now, well, perhaps a bit less now that I'm probably implicated in the murder of a gardener. But
Well, you're among its murderers, so maybe that gives you some solace. I'm not sure.
normally,
Don't worry, you're just with a bunch of murderers.
normally being around murderers is not much of a solace. But and she sort of looks up at you. You know, I suppose you're not too bad. I do feel a bit better than I thought I would. Have you been in situations like this before?
Like Fox smiles kind of knowingly and just says, yes, more than you could ever know.
And everyone made it out okay?
We'll just say change is coming.
Oh. And I think at that point we're gonna
okay.
cut back to Jane and Jason, over to Valentine and Drosharis. You've got your bloodied, stabbed up, ramshackle Grey Gardener outfits on.
I mean, we
It's
read
like a
some
fashion
Club Soda.
montage. Val like walks out from behind the little shade wearing the Grey Gardener things, and like Drosharis and Fox are sitting out there shaking their heads. She
Keeping up-
goes back in, tries
Too
on a
much
different
blood.
outfit.
It's too much blood.
Keeping up with the PCs. You have
Yeah.
to find your own style.
Find your own look.
So yeah, we
Try to clean them up as much as possible.
Damn,
Sure.
no one took prestidigitation.
But I think we could just
Quite
walk
the
in there and be
oversight.
like, these dudes stabbed us. We're here to get this guy.
I'm just.
I'm so injured.
I mean, we had a healer.
Yeah.
They don't do the laundry too. They just heal the wounds.
Anyway.
And we have a witness, the map maker
Mm-hmm.
from the store, as a witness, and we want to take this guy with us.
Look, you're way over planning this. What are you doing?
Okay. So, well, what I want to know is Fox coming?
No.
Okay. So it's just Val and Dro.
Yep.
Spin-off series.
Val and Dro.
Okay.
Is there like a guy when we walk in? Is there like a
So
A
the two of you
desk
are in
sergeant.
costumes and walking in. I just want to set
We're
the
dressed
scene.
up like Grey Gardeners.
Yes.
Faces covered for
Sure.
sure. And walking into the jail.
no cane, but I'm not like standing at full height either.
Okay.
Every time Val sees a bird on the way over, she glares.
All right. The two of you walk in to the judicial building, and there is a front desk with a guard, insignia and badge on the chest. Just sort of looks up. At first, before he sees you coming, you see, we are about to close, but how can I? And as he sees the two outfits, let's check now. Let's talk a little bit about your deception ability to blend in. What's your what is your proficiency in deception?
I am an expert. I am legendary at deceiving.
Jesus.
Actually. So I have a plus.
Caden, Kallian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a plus 28 to deception.
Nice.
What about you, Drosharis?
Plus 22.
Are you also like an expert, a master?
I am I want to say a master. Let me look. Trained.
Oh, you're just trained?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, in that case, you could technically follow the expert.
Okay.
So are you following her lead?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're really good at this. Jane, can you just sort of just give me, why is Val good at this? Has she ever done this before?
Maybe.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, so I think, well, let's put it this way. As Val and Drosharis are walking in, I think there's just something about Val. Like, I think she's going to just kind of take the lead on this by nature. Like, she just wants to. And Dro, I think, being somebody who is a vigilante and used to having these multiple personalities and sticking in the shadows, just kind of like lets it happen, is used to being in the background and waiting for the right moment to kind of strike. And as he is following her in, it's her body language changes just a little bit, like the way she carries herself. And it's like it's a different person all of a sudden. And he's seen this happen before when she's talking to somebody and goes from kind of this like hard and sinister person into like really friendly and open and engaging. But this is different, and it looks like it just has the entire feel of fuck around and find out as she walks in.
The art of fuckery.
The art of fuckery.
Okay.
And so I think from Dro's perspective, it's just like, oh, she's a character now. This isn't the same person I've been with all day.
All right. What are those bonuses again?
Plus 28 for Val.
22.
Okay. And I'm going to leave these as open checks, so go ahead and just roll those for me. And Jason, I'll mentally adjust the DC for you a little bit, knowing that you're following the leader, if you will. All right, what do we got?
33.
Okay.
24.
Okay. A little bit of mental math there for you following did you say legend?
Legendary.
Legendarily deceptive. You walk in, sort of looks up as I said, we are getting ready to close, but you just kind of hear his mouth dry out when he sees these two somewhat bloodied gardeners walk in. What business do you have here tonight?
And Val, whose voice sounds a little different now, just goes, "We are here for the dwarf."
And Droshar is just kind of...
He killed one of our own. We're here for the dwarf.
Do you need the dwarf right now?
Right now.
Oh. And they just blanches. He is not here?
What?
Where is he?
They just took him to see the High Magistrate.
I would like to know if I am
Being lied to.
being lied to. Also, one thing that I forgot, I don't know what we're considering like a success for this deception roll,
Yeah.
but I do have the feat Charming Liar.
Okay.
So Val's charm allows me to also win over those I lied to.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a critical success?
You don't know.
Okay. So if it was a critical success, the target's attitude towards me improves by 1 step as though I had used diplomacy.
Okay.
And this has the effect of making an impression.
Sure.
So it only works once per conversation. But if I critically succeeded on that,
Yeah.
you got to be nice to me.
Perception check here. You think this guard's being dead honest. The dwarf, we just brought him in.
Where is he now?
As I said, he is with the High Magistrate.
Would we know who that is? Or like where that is?
The High Magistrate, Olvald Carmino. You can find out more next time.
Oh, man, you got took.
We know that guy.
Oh, hello, Orville.
The Live to Die podcast is a production of Live to Die Gaming. Follow us on social media at Live to Die Pod. Leave a review and tune in next week for more. If you like the amazing background audio and music, all that credit goes to Syrinscape. Make sure you check them out at Syrinscape.com.